You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver. What the hell is that? Podcast.
Hello, it's time again for Tech Talk, starring Techmaster Poot, Techmaster Tom, Tom Ticker Beef, and Ticker Tape Ransom, because I'm just going to sit here and drink, because I don't know, I can't do it. Oh, just kidding, we're going to talk wrestling, because this is the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast, allegedly. Speaking of allegedly, I have bad news.
Allegedly.
Bad news. The Royal Rumble has happened. That's part of the bad news. The other part of the bad news is it's finally happened. You're right now listening to Ransom the Madman, joined with Beef the Legend, Poots the Bard, and Tiger Bomb Tom. Not a single chooser-weight champion among us. Oh, among us, speaking of which, we do that on... No, we'll talk about that later. What we are going to talk about now is the fact that finally it has happened. Ah, my freaking wrist. Finally, somebody has taken the Chooserweight title away from one of the four P3 dummies. And who better to do this than the man? Who better to do this than the man that co-created the inception of this idea of a Chooserweight Open? Big D Money, Dave Parrish, is now a singles Chooserweight champion, and I feel like I'd be more angry, I'd be more disappointed in us and just the entire situation if it was anybody other than him. But since it's him, because he helped to cultivate this idea of the Chooserweight Championship, I feel like it is fitting that he should be the first ever outside the podcast singles Chooserweight champion. Congratulations, Dave. Big D Money. He freaking did it. He took the title away from the four of us. Now it's up to us and anybody else out there in podcast land who's listening to take it away from Dave. It's up to you guys to do it. I have faith in us. I have faith in Pat. I have faith in Dos Hermanos Luchas. If they can set a calendar reminder to remember to submit their picks on time. But I know if everybody is competent and, paying attention, somebody will be able to dethrone the big dog, the champ that currently sits atop the mountain, Dave Parrish. Congratulations, Dave. I can't speak for the rest of these morons.
Nope.
But I'm proud. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the work that we did to put together this Chooserweight Open. And I would rather have no one else outside the podcast other than you hold the first ever title. Now,
sucking that championship dick over there.
Before we jump on anything, I gotta say this. Amber is usually very low on the standings. She called damn near a perfect Royal Rumble and came back from absolute zero. She was at 6 points before the Rumble. She came back to tie me for second place with 23 points on the month. She had 17 points on the Rumble. Dave had 16. And then I think the next closest was yours truly with 13. So, even though, yes, congratulations to Dave, shout out to Amber, the Maniac's wife, for really putting in a good effort for the Rumble, because I'm telling you, that was pretty fucking close.
So speaking of the Rumble, we got together and watched the Royal Rumble.
We did.
Now I'm sure this is going to be. I haven't checked my time because we definitely didn't start at 8:00. So we're a little bit over the 8:00 start time. So I have no idea when an hour is going to be and when it's not. Someone else will have to keep track. I can't be bothered. But I have a feeling this is probably going to be a part one of a two-part show, because I think that there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of stuff that we can digest and regurgitate about the Royal Rumble. Some good, some bad. But at the end of the day, we're going to probably spend a lot of time talking about it. So they did something. Whether they did something right or something wrong, they did something to make us talk about the Rumble. So I feel like WWE did well, because if you don't want to talk about it, that's when you fail. If there's a lot of bitchings or there's a lot of cheerings, one way or another, you're talking about it. You're talking about their product, which is what they want you to do. So, what did you guys overall think of the Rumble? I'm going to throw this off to Beef because he's our scribe. He's our resident knowledge book. How do you want to break this Rumble down? Do you want to break it down? Do you want to talk about matches? Do you want to break it down overall? How do you want to do this there, big fella?
There goes the money. There he goes.
We're going to start on that.
There goes the money. No, you know what? So I'm going to be the dissenting opinion, I feel like. I enjoyed the Rumble from start to finish, the entire event. There were lulls, for sure. I think that we will have an in-depth breakdown of where they really went wrong with the men's Rumble. That was definitely the low point of the show. But overall, I really enjoyed the product, which is not something I can say for WWE very often.
So you're not the only dissenting opinion. I didn't think overall that it was a terrible show. Like if I had to give it a grade, I'd give it like a B-.
I'd go B+. But that's respectable.
I'd give it a B-. It's just there were some questionable decisions. The order of the card. It was interesting to see them start off hot with Seth and Roman, which was by all accounts a really fantastic match. Kind of a wonky ending, but and then then all the other stuff going on. I don't know. Some of the things that we'll definitely get to some of the things that I think that they did wrong.
We'll tell you what. Let's start.
Yeah.
Let's start with breaking down the men's title matches, because I think that we can quantify those two because they were very good matches.
Ransom,
very
you and I don't get a
differently.
say.
No. I'm
confident we'll get there.
I'm trying to direct us on a path that's not just everybody throwing spaghetti at a wall.
We need that.
I love spaghetti,
that's what we
though.
need.
Yeah,
well, it is delicious.
I like meatballs anyway.
Steer me, Beef.
You would.
Yes. So we can break down the two men's title matches because I think they were very similar. They were both very good matches in totally different ways, and they both ended with weird fucky finishes that we don't see a lot of at Royal Rumble. So so everybody wants to shit on Lesnar and has been for the last 8 years or 10 years or whatever the fuck it's been. I am unapologetic in saying that Brock Lesnar is a star. He is a big star. He brings a big fight feel anytime he's in. And a lot of that is because he's not always there. So when Lesnar's on the card, when Lesnar's in attendance, it feels like a big deal. I think that they need to continue doing that because it makes sense. But him and Lashley put on a great show. It didn't go 25 minutes like Seth and Roman did because it didn't need to. They were brutal, they were effective, and they really told a good story. I didn't like seeing Roman cost him the title, but I like the swerve with Heyman going back to Roman. I think, Stevie Wonder probably could have saw it coming, but I liked it nonetheless. And so my biggest problem, I loved Rollins versus Reigns, but my biggest problem is that it ended in a disqualification by Roman holding a move on too long.
Yeah.
While unique,
Underwhelming.
It was very underwhelming. That type of a clash, because they had an epic battle from start to finish with Seth using the Shield gear and the Shield entrance getting under Roman's head, and
that was cool. That was really cool. I love the mind games that Seth was putting on. More
or less a face turn by Seth. If you look at the match, it was pretty much a face turn by Seth.
Yeah.
There was, and I get why they went the way they did, because it did make Seth look strong. He was in the ropes. He technically won the match. He's not going to get another shot at the title, probably. Maybe not.
I was going to say, do you think this will? Because obviously, the ending of it is served its purpose to set up the ending for the Lesnar and Lashley match and continue the feud between Brock and Roman to set that up for WrestleMania. But do you think that in between at Elimination Chamber or whatever, is it only Elimination Chamber before WrestleMania, or is there one more?
It's a good looking question. I don't know the answer to that.
But in any case, I would feel like at some point, I feel like they're going to probably have, as a placeholder, they'll have a rematch. Obviously, Roman's going to still retain until Mania. I mean, like that's a no-brainer there. But I feel like they could justifiably put a rematch between Seth and Roman because Seth can be like, well, I never submitted, you never beat me, you got DQ'd, whatever. So it's I get that a lot of times they use the dusty finishes to keep both people looking strong, but I don't know. It just, yeah. The biggest reason that they probably did it the way they did is just to try to turn Seth face. And what do they do then if that doesn't go over with the fans? What if they still want to boo him?
I don't. The quick answer to your question, Tom, and I'm gonna let you guys finish, but just the quick answer to Tom's question: Seth is in the WWE title match at Elimination Chamber with Lashley, Lesnar, Theory, Riddle, and AJ Styles.
Oh, well then, okay.
So, what about you? Let's hear your breakdown of the men's title matches.
Well, I just want to touch on what Tom said. I don't think it is possible for people to, for lack of a better term, John Cena heat or early Roman Reigns heat Seth Rollins. People just like Seth Rollins. Now, it's not the same kind of thing of like an Adam Cole or, what have you. I just don't think that it's even like a possibility that people are going to be just like, boo, this face turns dumb, boo. Like, I don't know about you. The character that Seth Rollins is kind of portraying right now is just like, it can either be he's shit-eating heel, you want to boo him because he's so snarky and goofy, or you want to cheer him because he's so snarky and goofy. Like, it's really easily translatable. Like, people like Seth Rollins is just likable.
So he's a super tweener.
Like, yeah, I mean, like, but that's the nice thing is I think that it's good that they have someone who can be a foil for pretty much anybody. You know what I mean? I think that's a really good thing. And I think Seth Rollins really fits that bill. And will he have his kind of moment in the sun again with the belt? Maybe. I mean, that's always up for debate, depending on what comes down the pike with WWE. But as far as the rest of the as far as the rest of the Rumble, don't worry, it's an old standing inside joke.
Speak for here.
He as far as the rest of the Rumble, you know what? I'm gonna even be this more power of positivity. Okay, I'm gonna give it, which is pretty much analogous to what Beef would have given it, but I'd give it an A-. The entire event was a lot of fun up until that men's Rumble match. I enjoyed the entire thing up until that men's Rumble match. And to be fair, it wasn't even really a stinker. It wasn't even like super drizzling shits or anything like that. It just was underwhelming. Because, like, the men's Rumble, and
we'll get there. We'll get there.
No.
I won't get there, but we're talking about the title matches, though.
Well, the title matches, I mean, they were all fine. They were all very entertaining. And I was entertained. I mean, I don't really have anything else to say. Most of the things I have to say are about the men's Rumble match. I mean, it was an event where it started and I went, oh, okay, that was good. Oh, okay, that was good. Oh, this is good. All right, the women's Rumble. Oh, all right, this is good. This is good. And then I went, oh. So, like, I just enjoyed all of it. I think that the Reigns finish I don't think phoned in is the right word. What would be the word that I'm looking for here?
Penis knuckle.
It was not lazy. Penis. Well, no, penis knuckle was not it. No, penis knuckle was not it. We'll get to that term during the men's rumble. I thought that it was very kind of like, oh, it's done. Oh, really? Rain. Okay. All right. All right. Cool. Like it was just, I think, underwhelming. I said it before. It was underwhelming. And then as far as like, I know I picked wrong. And I was so confident on it, but man, I'm glad that Lashley won. I'm glad. I'm so glad. Like he really has been doing a lot of great work, and he looks great, and he's getting more confident. I'm just happy for Lashley. I like Bobby Lashley.
Go ahead, Rantham.
I think these two title matches were done in the absolute best way they could have been done. I have zero complaints about these two title matches. I don't, maybe I missed it, but I didn't see where Seth Rollins was turning face. I really didn't. Like the whole smarmy coming down to the Shield, but his dumb, stupid mouth was just open the whole time. That's the noise I hear when I see him do that open mouth laugh, but I don't hear it on the screen. All I hear is, I'm Seth Rollins. And you shut your mouth, fuckstick. But like there was no face in that at all. It was just heel, Shield music, walking to the ring through the fans, breathing on everybody, walking down. I didn't see any face there. Throughout the whole match, too, I didn't see any face turns either, especially right up towards the end when Roman had him in a very bad position and he put his fist up and he was like, yeah, the Shield. No, like that's not face at all. That is classic weasel your way out heel stuff. That goes back to like the Triple H versus Kevin Nash when Triple H was about to bash Kevin Nash in the face with a sledgehammer. Kevin Nash held up the Too Sweet sign like, oh, come on, brother, too sweet, right? Too sweet. We're buddies, we're bros. Nah, man, that's classic heel stuff. Like Seth Rollins played a wonderful, smarmy, slimy heel the entire match. And
I think it was more the end is what we're saying. Like in the end of and I get that, the Austin Hart match is like one of the best ever and this, that, and the other thing. And that is an iconic moment. But I'm saying like the end made him feel more
you had more
relatable.
You had sympathy for him.
Yes.
I didn't. I felt like that was comeuppance. I really do, because throughout the entire build-up, he was taunting Roman, and I get it. They're both heels, but one heel's got to do something to get the other heel's goat to make it believable storyline-wise. It can't just be like, "Hey, I'm Roman Reigns, I beat you up," and then Seth Rollins, I beat you up. Like that's not gonna. Who's gonna give a crap about that? Like they had to go somewhere. They had to go somewhere to get people like engaged. Like, oh yeah, someone's gonna get some. Give them the business. But I think like right up until the end, Seth Rollins was doing his smarmy, slimy mind games bullcrap, and Roman was like, nope, no more mind games from you, dum-dum. You go to sleepy time, bye-bye. And he got him. He got sleepy time, ouchie, bye-bye. And I think that was a great ending. I wasn't disappointed at all in that ending because the traditional Roman Reigns match ending is either Uso interference, but they couldn't do that because Usos were barred from ringside here, or Superman punch, ooh-ah, spear, 1, 2, 3. This was something completely different than a traditional Roman Reigns ending match. So I was 100% happy with the way that they ended it. I thought it was beautifully done. It was perfect. Nobody thought, oh, he's just going to choke him to death. Like everyone thought like, oh, he's going to break it, stand up, Superman punch, ooh-ah, spear, dead, 1, 2, 3, bing, bong, bang. But it didn't happen that way. I liked it. So on to the other match. The whole thing was great. Had no problems with the match. I see exactly why they needed to do the ending the way that they did, because if you were truly going to have a Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, you couldn't have title for title because that makes the Royal Rumble pointless. Because the winner's supposed to get a title shot at WrestleMania. So if you have Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns title for title at Mania, the Royal Rumble winner is pointless because it's either, well, they'll challenge some other time for something else, or, hey, we'll have a triple threat match. I'm going to make it a tag team match, player. So I see why they did that, why they took the belt off of Brock. And to have Paul Heyman turn on Brock Lesnar, go back and side with Roman Reigns, was, I feel, a masterful way to get that job done, to where you got the belt off of Brock Lesnar, didn't make him look weak, you made him look betrayed. And now he's out for blood, now he's out for revenge. I thought both of those matches were superb.
So here's the problem inherent with that, Ransom. Let's not say things that won't age well in a month, because Lesnar could well walk out of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, with the WWE, with the the WWE title.
Which title? Damn it!
I don't think they will at this point. Like, I don't.
Well, so here's what makes me nervous.
Yeah.
The reports are that this was like a Lesnar losing, not necessarily winning the Rumble, but Lesnar losing the title match was like a day of call. That they have zero plans for Bobby Lashley.
Wow.
They had nothing in mind when they did it. It was just, well, hey, if we're gonna have Brock win the Rumble, we should probably have him lose the title, which they may renege on in less than a month anyway.
Not even less than a month. Give it like 2 weeks.
Listen.
So now, but wait, where does that stand for the Rumble then? Because if he wins the title in the Elimination Chamber in Blood Money Infinite, what
Blood Money Infinite?
Is he still technically the Royal Rumble winner? Now I'm going to challenge for the Universal Championship. I won't lose my belt.
Listen,
if I lose, I don't lose my belt. But if I win, I get both belts. I'm Brocky 2 belts.
That's what we talked about before.
Rocky 2 belts.
Rocky 2 belts is great. No, I mean, like, they very well could be setting up for a title for title, like we talked about. And if somebody else had won the Rumble, like we laid it out, just like you said, they could either do, since it's a 2-night event, they could have, they could have had the Royal Rumble winner challenge whoever on night 1, and then they could do a title for title on night 2 between, whoever it would be, or, like we said before, your very favorite thing in the world, do a triple threat match, because we know that there's going to be at least one triple threat title match somewhere on the card, whether it's the WWE or the Universal or Intercontinental or whatever. There will always be at least one triple threat match.
Intercontinental belt's still a thing. Jesus.
I don't know that that's true anymore with a 2-night WrestleMania. So like before, probably, but before, when there was only 1 night of WrestleMania, triple threat, fatal 4-way matches, like 8-man tags, that was a way to get people on the card and get them, the WrestleMania payday. Now that we have 2 nights, I don't think you have to like shove people in where they don't belong. If you ask me my opinion, which is usually wrong, at least in the eyes of Vince, I think they pull the trigger with Seth Rollins, like continuing on this like mini. And I see Ransom's point; he did wrestle very heelish, but I think that there is, if you listen to the fans, they want to cheer him.
Well,
so I think that you pull the trigger with Seth Rollins at that Elimination Chamber, have him win, and have him and Owens have a title match at WrestleMania. Well, I think that would be, and I mean, Owens and Rollins is writing itself right now. Like the buddies that they are is obviously going to explode. It's WrestleMania season. Friendships don't last during WrestleMania season. So that's obviously going to explode. They're going to have another WrestleMania match. I'd love to see this one be for the WWE title.
Well, like regardless if they have Bobby Lashley drop the title at Elimination Chamber or not, my point is regardless of where it is on the card or for what belt or for not or anything, there are a couple certainties in life: death, taxes, and a triple threat match at WrestleMania.
All right, let's move away from WrestleMania possibilities and let's pivot back to the Royal
Yes.
Rumble here.
Yeah, but regardless, they could
What?
have
Say regardless one more time. I dare you.
regardless.
I dare you.
Regardless.
Are you talking about the Rumble here, Tom? Or are you talking about
Yes,
Mania?
I'm getting back to the Rumble.
Let's get back
So-
to it.
Yes. So regardless of how the Rumble
Damn
shook
it,
out,
Tom.
I'm doing it just to piss you off now, Beef. I don't care.
Poppy. Yes.
The fact that they made a day of call with no plans in mind for Bobby Lashley just really further infuriates me with their short-sighted lack of long-term booking. Like I don't understand how you logically make a call like that, or why. You don't. There is no logic. They even said it's a day of call. Like, what the fuck are they thinking? Because that is so stupid to hot potato a title, or potentially hot potato a title right before WrestleMania.
Your legacy title, nonetheless. Like this is not the
Exactly.
Universal belt. This is the title. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, even if it was the Universal title, like, I mean, Roman Reigns has brought plenty of prestige to that title in the tumultuous run that he's had with it. You know, he's just steamrolling over everybody. But I don't understand. You know, the Royal Rumble is supposed to gear everything up towards the show of shows, and this is where you want to start really solidifying the booking between now and then. Why the fuck do you make this on the day call with no plans in mind for somebody? Like, I kind of almost feel sorry for Lashley, but then again,
This is a business as usual operational method here at WWE. This is not an out of the park type thing. This is business as usual, changing things up to the day of. If something would have been planned weeks in advance and they followed through with it, there's your shocker. Holy crap, they allegedly scheduled this weeks out and it took place exactly like they had it planned. Gee willikers. Oh my goodness. Like that's your jaw drop moment.
And as we've mentioned,
at this point, I am not. Will be zero surprise from me if we get reports that they're changing major WrestleMania plans the day of WrestleMania. That's not going to surprise me anymore. There's such chaos and lack of continuity that the changing of the plans the day of the event is it's normalcy now.
That's the motive.
But just real quick, Poot, it bears repeating. This is what WCW did in their final days.
Yep.
Book something, and then like 2 hours before TV, they'd rip up the script and they'd be like, "All right, here's what's gonna happen." And then 30 minutes before before TV, they'd rip up the script and they'd say, "Okay." During the show, they'd rip up the script and go, "Okay, here's how the rest is." And that's just that's just
happened in WWE too.
Go ahead.
That's
Poot.
happened lately.
That I was gonna say, you either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. We've said it before.
Yep.
And
He's been a villain for a while.
It's true. No, and he has. And that's the thing, is the only reason that he's been able to kind of like let it linger for so long is because of the amount of money that he's done with all his deals with all the different fucking things. I'm not wrong. Like, it's hilarious.
You're not. I love the whole thing. Like, the reason he's been able to let it linger. Like
it's
that. True. It's so true.
And the other thing is too, because of the namesake and the legacy. Like, I mean, people are so willing. A lot of the people out there who aren't like. And okay, this is gonna sound super sit in my towery wearing a monocle, but I don't really care. Like this is one of those things where you go like, either you're like the people who blindly support and constantly give the benefit of the doubt to WWE are people who aren't wrestling fans. They're fans of WWF/WWE. Like that's just how it is. You're not a fan of wrestling. I sat and watched Dynamite from this week, and I was infinitely more entertained, and I was infinitely more engaged. It was super good, and I'm not trying to pivot over to AEW for this one. Like, but the thing is that people who really are apologists for the way that WWE does things are people that are so far gone or so far up Vince's ass or so blind to the nostalgia thing that they can't see the forest through the trees. And that's a problem. And that's gonna eventually be the downfall of WWE. It really is. Either one of two things. Either they are going to keep their nose to the grindstone and they're going to keep doing this and they're going to just keep pushing forward and people are going to keep throwing money at Vince McMahon like some fucked up stripper, or they're gonna like go, oh, AEW is really good. Hey, you know what else is good? Impact's actually kind of good. Oh, look at New Japan. This is kind of interesting. And then whenever it comes back, whenever they reorganize or whatever the actual fuck they're doing, oh, Raw is really good. Like, there, you know what I mean? Like, there's other options out there that are better and more entertaining and have better wrestling with better storytelling, and the backstage segments are succinct and concise and convey what they need to without being over the top and goofy or showing lots of tits. So like, you know, that's kind of the problem with all this. Like, and the fact that like Ransom said, it's normalcy at this point to just expect last minute changes. That's wrong. It doesn't matter what format, whether it's wrestling or whether it's any kind of production. Especially you could put a parallel between WWE and live theater. You could, or wrestling and live theater. You absolutely could do that. If this kind of crap happened, if someone was doing a production of like funny thing happened on the way to the forum, and at last minute they decided to switch roles between two people who didn't know anything or what was going on, it would be a trash fire.
Speaking of trash fires, and speaking of fires,
well, no, I want to hit on before we pivot. Yeah, you slow your roll there, Timothy. We have 2 episodes for the Rumble here. I love the way that you said that. Your point about tits. So here's the thing, because that immediately made me think of Maurice because she was wearing because she was wearing like an Adore Me outfit as opposed to like a wrestling singlet. Here's the thing, man. Like, through since the dawn of man, that's what you do. If you have like a hole in your wall, you color it bright fucking green so no one notices. You know, if you got big ears, you wear big glasses so that no one notices. You do something else bold to distract. So that's, I think, is what they're doing right now. It's literally smoke and mirrors, forgive the pun, where they're trying to put like, you know, racy images out there, or these big fucking theatrics, or like the Shield entrance, for example, you know, or nostalgia in the case of the Women's Royal Rumble. They're doing these things that are basically putting a Band-Aid over a bullet hole and saying, see, people liked it. People liked the product again. Like, no, we enjoyed it on a one-night one-off, but that's not going to hold water.
It's being in a long-term relationship versus banging a bar slut.
Yep.
No, I can't. I don't know how to speak to that. We need to pivot back to the Rumble here and back to the event, back to Rumble matches. I know where you were going, Tom.
Yeah.
Let's cover that here in a little bit. Let's stick with the matches here, and then we can talk about the rest of the train wrecks that happened at the Royal Rumble afterwards. Let's talk about, well, I guess speaking of train wrecks, let's talk about the women's match.
I was trying to.
I'm talking about the burning sign. Let's talk about the women's Rumble match.
Doing both. I
didn't feel like Becky and Piper Niven was a bad match at all. I think it was a very serviceable match, and I think it showed off that, you know, Piper Niven's really good in the ring, not just some stupid fucking name.
I thought it was an absolute snore fest, and it's totally predictable.
Well, because you're not going to take the title off of your hottest talent leading to WrestleMania. I'm sorry, but that's, you know.
It was just, the match did nothing for me at all. That's all.
I think the match was, oh, sorry, go ahead, Beef.
No, I was going to say, I thought it was a perfectly fine match.
It was a placeholder for me. I mean, like
Well,
in the
yeah,
order
but
of
I
the
mean, we
booking.
all knew that it would be. Like, I think a lot of us assumed that Lashley
Blah.
versus Lesnar would be a placeholder too, and look how that turned out. So
Bork
you can never really
Lesnar.
assume anything in WrestleMania season. But yeah, I mean, I think we all kind of assumed that if there was one, because I mean, if you look at the points that were bet on the match, 4 points, 6 points, 6 points, um, hell, what do we 5, 6, 4, 5. We were all fairly fucking confident that Becky Lynch was going to win. So I mean, that was not really ever in danger of her losing. The match, I think, was a good match. It was a good technical match, which I think is something that WWE lacks from time to time.
They performed very well together, I think. I was never under an impression that Becky Lynch was going to lose this title. And this is no slight to her, but least of all to Doudrop. And again, this has nothing to do with her talent in the ring. I think she's plenty talented enough to be a women's champion, but she'll never be a women's champion under Vince McMahon's umbrella. All she's going to be is a joke to him. Ha ha ha, look at this big girl. We'll call her Doudrop. Bah ha ha, look at her jiggle. That's all she's going to be. She can have all the talent in the world. She can be more talented than every single woman on the roster, on the microphone, in the ring, from morning till night, and she'll never be a champion under Vince McMahon because he'll always see her as a joke. The nice thing about this match is that we got to see her capabilities of wrestling. So even though she wasn't going to win the title, and I think that we all knew that deep down for one reason or another, we were able to see her perform in the ring and say, oh, look, she isn't just a replacement for Nia Jax. She's a bigger girl, yes, but she's absolutely talented to the moon and back, which was something nice to see, that they didn't just put her in this match with Becky Lynch and have Becky Lynch tear her up and bury her left to right. That was the refreshing part of that match for me, not the fact that she wasn't going to win, which we all knew, but they actually kind of allowed her to showcase her abilities, which, again, frankly, under Vince McMahon, is shocking that they did that.
Speaking of nice to see, I am pleasantly surprised, and pretty much from 6 to midnight, the Ransom's wearing his analysis hat tonight. Did you go back and watch game film for this, buddy? Did you go back and watch the event again?
No, I've had a drink or two, and that's unusual for P3 podcasts, because generally I'm at the fire hall and walking around and not sipping on the nectar of the brain fluid. So I think that's the problem.
Yeah,
I think that's the problem.
You're doing a wonderful job with your succinct and very smart notes about the event. I'm very pleasantly surprised.
Let's not get used to it. Next time it's back to dumb old who knows nothing, what Ransom.
Back to what? Who's a dude? Huh? Who's a dude rop?
You want me to what?
So Poot, where do you fall with Becky versus Doudrop? Now that I see that we have two sides of the coin, I'm interested to see where you fall.
It was and you know what? In true fashion, what am I gonna be, Beef?
Switzerland.
Yep.
Fucking Switzerland. And again, it's just because I enjoyed it.
Cheesecake.
Oh fuck.
No.
No, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought it did showcase. I did think it showcased Dude Rop pretty well. It was good to see Becky back, but it was nothing to really, write home about. I didn't think it was a snore fest. I just thought it was like, this was solid. This was good. Now we move on to the rest of the event. And I think, it didn't make me go, all right, okay, yeah. Like it just was like, it was like, I was like, okay, it is two incredibly talented people doing their thing, having a good match, and showcasing strengths of both. That's what happens when you get talented people in the ring. They showcase each other's strengths, and then that's what happens. Like I can't agree with the fact that it was like fantastic, nor can I agree with the fact that it was a snore fest. Like it was just, you could now, to be fair, you could argue that at any point, any match could feel like a snore fest because of where it is on the card. That's the argument that I will make for that.
Well, the other side of that is I think that the fan reception to the match didn't help because they were being shuffled back and forth because of the WrestleMania sign melting on them.
Shut up, Beef. Tom, let's talk about it.
Do it.
Excuse me?
Take it. Take the wheel. You're good.
It's sign melting season apparently.
Oh, face melting. It's a good thing Charlotte wasn't close to it because her face would have melted.
Yep.
I think it's funny that Becky then pivoted off of it and said, "Yep, the WrestleMania sign caught on fire because I'm straight fire." That's how you know that you're doing a fucking great job at being you.
Yep.
You know, and I mean, honestly, and just to touch on the whole sign fire melting thing, like, we shouldn't be surprised.
Sign pointing. See, yeah, they set the Undertaker on fire once. Come on.
And WrestleMania 24, they set like almost an entire section on fire.
Yeah, they did.
With the Undertaker's pyro. So, like, this happens, and
I'm sure Undertaker was somehow to blame for this.
You know why? Yeah, right. The other two incidents directly are around him, so this one has to be his fault too.
It's Kane. He's messing with him.
But I mean, like, this is
the devil's favorite mayor.
Okay. Well, there it is.
Son of a bitch.
There's their incident.
I gotta write it down. I'm titling the episode that the devil's favorite
mayor.
New band name, I call it.
Like, this is, if you think about it, it's kind of a microcosm for the product. Like, they're like, hey, let's do all this cool stuff, but also let's not think it through all the way, but let's make sure that we're pushing the cool stuff because we want you to see it. What's happening here? Yes.
It's a fine day for marrying. Oh, death approaches.
I want to talk about the women's Rumble match. What's he done?
He just gave up his point. He's just like, fine, fuck it.
No, I made my point. I don't think that the sign melting has like a 5-minute, 10-minute leg. So I think we're good to go ahead and pivot.
Yeah, the Undertaker or Kane, one of them set the sign on fire to mess with the other one.
I mean, Michelle McCool was there, so
Yeah, probably Kane. It's a fine day for mayoring. Hey, did you know that aside from looking quite juicy and delicious, that Melina's elimination was a whoopsie daisy?
That's what I heard.
Oh, really?
No.
Yep, she slipped off the ring apron. She was not supposed to be eliminated first, nor super fast like she was.
Oops.
Maybe that's why she spent most of the time outside, just like looking like she wanted to have a nervous breakdown and like pry her eyes out because she realized she done fucked up.
Well,
I think so.
Well, that happened in the men's rumble too, but we'll get to that.
She was genuinely emotional when she got into the ring, and you could see her break character a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And say I'm sorry to Sasha because she probably wasn't supposed to be getting emotional like that.
Yeah.
And then when she got tossed out of the ring, you could see the genuine surprise and like pounding of the mat of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I botched this. Who knows how long she was supposed to be in that match.
Real recognizing real, man. It was great to see those two face to face because like I 100% there's a correlation between Melina and Sasha Banks. I think that like Sasha Banks' character, the boss, is 100% derivative of Melina. So it was really fucking cool to see those two face to face. And also, that's something I've seen in my dreams many times, but that's neither here nor there.
There were a lot of
Sailor
fun
Beef,
surprise. Oh, it's true. There were a lot of fun surprise entrants in the women's Rumble match. I feel like the ratio of fun surprise entrants in the women's Rumble match greatly outweighed the fun surprise entrants in the men's Rumble match.
So
Agreed.
the only thing I'll say about that is I think it can teeter on leaning on too much nostalgia. So, and we made the point that WWE is obviously doing this because they don't have enough bodies to fill the roles. And I'm fine with surprise entrants at Royal Rumble, and I'm fine with surprise legends. But Kelly needed.
No.
Eh. Ivory. It was a fun spot, and especially with the right to censor thing and her and Rhea Ripley coming, coming to blows. Needed. Alicia Fox. Oh my God. Needed.
Not
No.
at all.
Bellas. And especially for the fucking Bellas to ruin the reuniting of the Riot Squad. Not needed. But Bella's gonna Bella,
I would much have rather seen the Ivory spot than Alicia Fox in her entirety, Kelly in her entirety.
Yep.
Summer
both of the
Rae.
stupid Bella
Summer Rae, I
twins.
forgot about
Summer Rae and her
Yep.
frying pan face. My God, what the fuck was up with
Oh Lord!
Oh.
Somebody hit her with a Mack truck because it was not
My
a
bad.
good sign. But
My
no,
bad, Booch says.
It looks like she got a little too close to the fucking WrestleMania sign there. My
Oh
God.
no!
yeah, it looks like it came off the freaking cable and smacked her in the face and flattened out that nose.
But it was fun. The Women's Royal Rumble, especially knowing that they were going in shorthanded,
Yeah,
they pulled a hell of a fun, and it was fun. The whole entirety was fun. It was neat to see. It was good to see Rhea get one over on Nikki ASH.
Yeah.
Carmella eliminating Sasha Banks made some sense because it was Zelina, I think, that eliminated Sasha. Again, having a younger talent get one over on an established talent. A lot of things make a lot of really good sense in that Rumble, outside of the stupid spots where they had one legend come in for 30 seconds and then get eliminated.
Yeah. I enjoyed the Nikki ASH spot with Mighty Molly.
yes,
That was
fun. Yeah.
that was very fun.
I was obviously if they weren't ready to go, they weren't ready to go. In regards to Asuka and Bayley, it would have been nice to see them back if they were available, but apparently they weren't. If that's the case, if they weren't ready to go, okay, cool. I understand that. If they were available and they just chose not to use them, then I think that's a missed opportunity there. So hopefully we'll see them back sooner rather than later. At least Bayley. I mean, I'm guessing Asuka still might be on the, still not on the clear to wrestle side with whatever injury she had. But I would think Bayley's got to be close, right?
I think the biggest missed opportunity in my mind is the lack of Raquel Gonzalez.
Yeah. Or NXT people in general from both Rumbles, but especially in the women's Rumble. Raquel Gonzalez. We had no. Well, I think we saw some. I think I saw something about that Kairi Sane was over in Japan, so it would have been hard to get her back logistically. So I can let that one slide. What about Io Shirai? Where's she been?
Io Shirai would have been another good one.
Cora Jade from down in NXT. I mean,
to me though, Raquel Gonzalez seems like she's the one that's going to be going up next. She's not really doing much in NXT right now. It's kind of the Mandy show, which I'm oddly fine with. But Raquel seems like she's the next one to go up. And this would have been a great opportunity to bring her out and be like, hey, and basically pull what they did with Bianca a couple years ago and Shayna 2 years ago. Where they come out and dominate. Hey, this is Raquel Gonzalez. Get used to seeing her face.
Well, that, and you just mentioned it, the Mandy show. Why wasn't Mandy Rose featured in there? Feature your NXT Women's Champion, or all of Toxic Attraction. Because I mean, Mandy's already been on Raw and SmackDown, so she's already been main roster groomed. It's not like she doesn't know how to be in a Royal Rumble or anything like that.
Yeah, but
I mean,
but maybe they're trying to give her a little more time to stew and get a little more legitimacy. You know what I mean?
I really think that it's this, and I think now, especially with Vince McMahon taking over NXT, you're not going to see the trial run call-ups, the guest appearances. I don't think you're going to see that. I think he's going to do everything possible to separate those two and say, this is developmental. You will not see them on Raw, SmackDown, or a pay-per-view until they are not developmental anymore, until they're ready. And when they're ready, they'll be on my main roster.
Okay.
So
But-
there's going to be a clear distinction there, I feel, going forward. Like, you're not going to see like, here's a surprise entrance from NXT in the Rumble, or like, hey, this NXT champion's going to face this WWE champion at this pay-per-view for funsies. Like, I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
But
Because I think Vince saw the failings in that, and those were his created failings, but I think that's where he saw failings. Like, we brought these people up too soon. Like, we brought them up as an NXT champion, and look what happened. You know, when we actually brought them up, they floundered and they failed. And it was they weren't ready. It's not ready. Nope, it's not cooked yet. Put it back in the oven.
Okay,
it's all Paul's fault.
but to that point, one could also make the argument: what does that say for whenever talent from the main roster goes back down to NXT? Are they looking at that as like a demotion? Like, why did we have AJ Styles go down to NXT for like a week or two, fuck around with Grayson Waller, and then come back and like nothing ever happened?
To lend a little bit of legitimacy to Grayson Waller.
Well,
Because
so
Vince
let's
McMahon,
keep in
he
mind,
can do what the hell he wants with his main roster.
and let's keep in mind too that, so for Mandy Rose, yes, I think this is 100% demotion, but she's absolutely running with it like a fucking boss. But as far as the AJ Styles thing, let's not forget that NXT 2.0 is in its infancy. AJ Styles showing up there is probably a way for them to get eyes on the product, or at least more eyes than they normally would have had. I don't know if it worked or not. I forgot to, I haven't cared about NXT in a long time, sadly. But that was right around right before the Gunther phase. So I've been checked out for a while.
All right, so we could keep going on this, but we are judging by my recording time getting a little long in the tooth. Do you guys want to move on to the men's rumble?
Or this might be a good time to kind of wrap up this episode and go to the next.
We should save the men's rumble to the end, because I think that's going to be the biggest talking point.
Yeah, the men's rumble is going to be a hot minute because to quote Frank Costanza, I got a lot of problems with you people, and you're going to hear about it.
So do we have a stump the champs? Now might be a good time to get one of those bad boys in.
Dead air is fun. I was assuming that we'd handle that on the second episode too.
Well, assume nothing. I'm changing the script on the fly. Call me Vince McMahon of the podcast.
I'm flipping. I have been for years.
We do. Here's the question.
Suck it. I mean, yes, please.
From Pat, because of course, who else? Shame on you. Shame, fingers. Shame on all of the other 16 of you out there listening to this podcast.
Wow.
Send us questions, you bastards. What 3 female superstars had the longest reigning single title run with the WWE Divas title? Not cumulative, single run. Distinctions to be made. Obviously, he said it's Divas, so they're women, so we know that it's not Harvey Whippleman. And he is talking about the Divas title, not the women's, not Raw, not SmackDown, Divas.
So Divas title, right off the bat, wasn't Nikki Bella the longest reigning Divas?
Easily Nikki Bella. I think AJ Lee was another one.
I'd agree with both those picks.
Those two, because whenever that was in the interim when I really was like jumping in and out of wrestling, and I remember seeing Nikki Bella and AJ Lee all the time.
Feels like
feels
like Beth Phoenix should be up there. I don't know if she is, but it feels like she should be.
Well, right off the bat, I was gonna say Nikki Bella has definitely got to be one because
she's the longest reign.
She had the longest reign, and that was right before they killed that off and changed it over into the women's title with the whole women's revolution. So Nikki definitely is one at least.
Stupid butterfly belt.
I feel like Poot's right on with AJ Lee too, because it was a big deal that she held it for such a long time and then lost to Paige, like on Paige's first night.
Yeah. I would say Beth Phoenix probably.
Because
I feel like Beth Phoenix was kind of kind of the torchbearer there for quite a while, and that was, I mean, sadly, that was kind of around the time whenever I had fallen out of it. But
she was well, not trying to ruin your keep that train of thought, Beef, but she was, but didn't she like yo-yo or not yo-yo, but didn't she hot potato that belt a lot though? Didn't Beth Phoenix hot potato it a lot?
Yeah, yes. there was a lot of that. I was thinking Lay Cool, but they were women's champions.
Well, no, wait.
Yeah,
Didn't they
were.
cut the butterfly belt in half?
Did.
Half the butterfly belt?
Yeah.
They cut the women's title in half. The old women's Attitude Era belt.
No, I thought it was the butterfly title. I was with Ransom on that one. I thought they did it because they were BFFs or whatever. And
I think in any case, I don't think they would have held it. Is this total days or is this
one single reign?
One single reign.
One single reign.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Well, who else was a player?
So Beth or no, AJ and Nikki Bella are I think the two givens. I think he's trying to give us a curveball here because I think that the simplest answer may be the actual answer here. Other players would be Kelly was around during this area. Pretty much anyone on Total Divas because that's where that came from.
What about Paige? Because
maybe
because even when she took it off of AJ, she had probably about a good year run with it.
Was it that long?
Yeah, I think so. I think.
Who? Okay. Let's try and think because the women's roster back then wasn't enormous.
Right.
So we said AJ Lee, Nikki Bella. You said Beth
Phoenix would be there.
Beth and Bree, Paige. What was the name of that one?
Natty.
Natty was there. Was Jazz in there, or am I thinking too far back?
No, that's way too far back.
What about Eve Torres?
Eve Torres
was there.
Maybe in there. Caitlyn would have been another one.
Caitlyn. Yeah. What's Taker's wife? What's her name?
Michelle
McCool.
I think McCool did have the butterfly title, but I think that her and Layla. I still think that her and Layla's like split the women's title, but I do believe that Michelle McCool did have the butterfly title for a minute.
So
it honestly wouldn't shock me if Michelle McCool was one of them because we know how WWE loves the Undertaker, wants to make sure that he's happy.
Yeah,
so.
But that wasn't during that time, was it? They weren't together during that point.
I don't know. You may be right about that.
So the only reason I say Paige is I remember when she came up on her first night and she beat AJ Lee for the Divas title. Then at some point she was uber face, but then at some point she had kind of a little bit of a heel turn. Not full blown shit eating heel, but like then it was like I think like a year later, and then somebody also like kind of almost pulled the same thing on her sort of deal. Like they were like, oh, are we gonna watch history repeat itself, but just like with somebody else? And I can't remember who that was. But I feel like Paige had it for a good year.
I don't think she did. I don't think Paige had it that long.
I think that she probably has a lot of reigns, but I don't think that she had.
Because I think a lot of these women probably have a lot less number of reigns with the Divas title than we remember them having.
Paige didn't have that. Paige didn't have that many reigns with the Divas title because by the time she came up, and she eventually lost it or whatever, then that was like then Nikki Bella had it forever.
Yeah,
and that's whenever
Paige never had the WWE Women's or the SmackDown or the Raw SmackDown title.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
She was only Divas and NXT.
And that's what I'm saying. She had it. I feel like she had it for a decent reign, even though she only had like one reign with it, I believe, maybe two, but I feel like she had it for a decent chunk of time because shortly after Paige had it, like I said, then if there was somebody else in between, whatever, then Nikki had it all the way up until they.
Well, so
I don't think Paige even broke 100 days. I wouldn't hazard a
they
guess.
made. I would agree with that. So they made the change at WrestleMania 22.
Right.
That's whenever the new title was introduced. The new titles. That's when the change was introduced.
Wait, 22
or 32? Excuse me.
I was gonna say, I was like,
how
God damn
many
it,
months ago was that?
That WrestleMania 31, the Bellas took on Paige and AJ Lee together.
right?
I think AJ Lee was still champion at that point. Now that may have been her second reign. I'm not 100% on that. But then obviously I think Nikki Bella went on to beat her and then promptly lose to Charlotte fucking Flair.
Well, Bella Baggins.
I just can't.
All right, enough. If I say these are the picks. Nikki Bella, AJ Lee, and Maurice.
I don't think so on that
Locked in
thing.
Let's go.
No,
That's not a bad idea.
You say no, but I've rummed it up.
Why Maurice?
Okay,
Maurice
I don't need to explain my rationale to you, buddy. I know the things.
Maurice did have that title for a good long time.
I think
she is one of the ones that I absolutely personified with that belt. But I gotta believe that Beth had a longer reign than Maurice.
I'm gonna throw. That's
it doesn't
the thing.
matter
It's like
how
Beth
many.
had the. It's the longest ones.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many.
I think, like you said, he's trying to throw us a curveball. We were going through and we were naming people. I'm gonna say Eve Torres. Just because he's trying to throw us a curveball.
Shoot this fella.
If it's anyone outside the box, it's probably Caitlyn. I think Caitlyn had the belt for a minute. They were trying to establish her as like an up and coming star. It just didn't really pan out.
Is this going to be the moment where we split the Stump the Chumps title belt?
Did Maria Kanellis have the butterfly title?
What?
Beef, you always crawl down into these deep dark like trenches. Like pull yourself up out of there.
Maria Kanellis, little Ellis.
I would love to do some.
I'm just saying. I have thoughts. The Maria Kanellis would definitely have been around in that time frame.
You have thoughts?
I definitely have thoughts about Maria Kanellis. How you doing?
Man, you say Maurice, and I'm torn whether it's Maurice or Beth Phoenix. And I think that's why he's making the cutoff at 3 as opposed to 4 or 5, because the third one is probably a real big red herring. Maybe not. We may be outthinking ourselves here. You know what? I'm good with whatever people want to say is the third one, except Eve Torres. I'm sorry, Poot. I don't think it's Eve Torres.
Eve Snorres.
If we think it's Maurice, I'm good with that. If we think it's Beth, I'm good with that.
Somebody make a decision. I have spoken.
I'll go with the consensus, I guess.
I'm one man.
Well, I guess Tom's the consensus. What do you think?
I already told you what my opinion was.
Well, I guess we're going with...
Restate it because we forgot.
That's true. Also.
I said Nikki, AJ, and Paige.
This falls on Tom.
No, don't make it fall on me. If you're so sure about Maurice, go with Maurice. I'm not gonna be the one that fucking. I'm not gonna fucking be the fall guy for this.
Hang on, I gotta call Drew McIntyre and borrow his sword so you can fall on it. Drew!
Fuck that. Nope.
Give me that Claymore!
Claymore your face.
I'll be honest.
Rude.
I don't think any of the three of these are bad picks. I think it could easily. So Paige Nikki Bella and AJ Lee obviously are like 1 and 2 in one of those orders. The third one, I think, is where it gets murky 100%. So I think that it could easily be any of the 3 of these women.
Somebody flip a coin.
You know what? Ransom, how confident are you in Maurice? You sounded pretty fucking confident. You, like me, watch a lot of the product from that era, from like the Ruthless Aggression on era. So you would have seen more, but you watch more like pay-per-views across the board, whereas I watch very focused pay-per-views like Rumble, WrestleMania.
If I'm wrong, Pat can have my spot on the next show.
Well, I don't want to do that either. We need.
I have spoken.
All right. Well, I'm honestly good with locking in Maurice. I feel like that's a good answer. So if it's Ransom and I saying Maurice, then I guess that's a consensus. So here we go. So we're saying Nikki Bella, AJ Lee, and Maurice, not necessarily in that order, right?
Yes.
Okay. Pat says, had a great time doing Rumble picks last week. Hope to be back on soon. You may be. Maurice, AJ Lee, and Nikki Bella.
Wow.
You can suck it all day and all night.
Now I'm curious as to where Paige ranks on that list because
I think Ransom's right.
Towards the top.
So Paige came from NXT right before it really became like the NXT we knew and loved.
Did she come from NXT Game Show?
No.
Okay.
It was like the 2-year period, like her and Seth Rollins and Big E.
Corey Graves.
They all came from that period where it wasn't the game show, and it really was what we know and love today. We just didn't see it every week.
Okay.
So like Paige was working with all these future stars down in NXT before they were, where they are now. So she didn't have a lot of time to get out there and really work with it before she got injured. So Ransom's probably right. It was probably somewhere in the range of 100 days. But yeah, when Ransom said Maurice, like my mind immediately went to, oh yeah, she had that butterfly title a long time. Well, Pat, you tried. You had us debating, and we had some good talk and debate about it. But guess what? The results remain the same. Because you, sir, you lose. And today, just like every other day, you get nothing.
Oh, poor Pat. He's such a nice guy.
By the way,
and every week.
Hey, by the way, for whoever might be wondering, Nikki Bella, AJ Lee, Maurice, whatever, respectively, 301, 296, 212. Beth Phoenix was next on that list at 204. Then Charlotte at 196.
Stupid Charlotte. I hate her.
Michelle McCool, 159. Caitlyn, 153. Layla, 140. Eve Torres, 121. Kelly, 104. My God.
Now, those cumulative, or is that like the reign? Like one single reign?
It says days recognized. Hold on. It says days recognized.
That's not cumulative. That's per reign.
Okay. Right on. Well, I mean, and those are all people that we mentioned, so it goes to show that we're not all fluff and filler. Sometimes we know things, and we drink.
And we drink.
Some of us know more when we drink.
Speaking of which, I got to go to the beer and bathroom store. Tom, finish your thought.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I am surprised that Beef you were not too far off on that because Paige did not break 100 days on that. I'm very surprised by that. Yeah.
Not because of talent, just because of time frame. I actually forgot that Charlotte held the butterfly title for a minute.
I sure did too. I had no idea she was even around during butterfly title season.
Okay, hold on. No,
I thought they changed it over.
Actually, no, she did break 100. Technically, they have other listings. So I think they're showing what was the longest reign regardless of how many reigns there were, because Nikki Bella had 2 reigns. One of them was 301 days, and the other one was 6.
Just 2? That's weird.
Yeah. Paige had 2 reigns. One of them 35 days, and then the other one was like the 80 something. So she broke 100. It was just maybe that's what it was
between 2 reigns, right?
Yeah, I don't think that there were as many title transactions. I don't think people had as many reigns with that belt as I think we're thinking they did.
Probably. That's legit, because I mean we all just kind of consider it a joke. Because
and I think they did too, because at the time
really
don't believe it probably wasn't featured prominently a lot of the time. So when someone grabbed it and held it, it never changed hands very much because it wasn't widely featured.
Yep.
It was always kind of like an afterthought.
Yep. And that's why the whole give divas a chance thing happened, and the women's revolution, and even though we sometimes get shitty women's title matches on TV, anything over like 5 to 7 minutes is still a win, because during the divas title days,
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
You were lucky to get like surprisingly Goldberg matches were longer than those matches.
Yeah.
Oh,
no joke.
Yeah.
And also, let's not forget too that for the vast majority, there are some outliers in the divas title, but the vast majority were just the drizzling shits as far as the matches went. So even the worst women's match that we get nowadays is generally better than most divas title matches that we ever got.
True. Agreed. Well,
I mean, there are some outliers. Beth Phoenix is an outlier because she was immensely talented. Melina was an outlier because she was talented.
I was going to say Maria has now changed herself to, if her body of work from like how she started to now, like a little bit, but
take us home.
Agreed. Sponsors in the segments below on the YouTube and on the every other platform. Look at them. We'll do a bigger burrito next time. This is a quesadilla. Bye, everyone.
Man, he nailed that.